In today's world, we only watch the endings, a flashy success story or the brutal collapse. But we don't hear about the full journey that it took to get there. The late nights, tough calls, moments of doubt. On In Between Sips, we dive deep into the raw, unfiltered stories of what these business owners and leaders have been through and who they became along the way. So pull up a chair, pour a cup, and join us. We're just getting started. Because we all know the best conversations happen in between sips. Hey, Steve, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We'll crack open some nitro. I know that's a specialty of yours.
Well, it's a hat that I have worn, yes. You got to pour it hard, too. You remember this.
Oh, I remember. Pour it hard.
Yes.
And then
all
just
right. Dude,
let it fly.
Just let it roll,
Let
huh?
it fly,
Okay. I'm just going to set it down gently, okay? Is that all right?
That's
all
great.
Right. Cheers.
That's great. Cheers.
Thank you.
So speaking of nitro, though, as the many hats, you know, when we first met, obviously Rotary, service above self.
Right.
But you're a phenomenal Cicerone, as they're called. You have a Cicerone license, right?
Yeah, I got certified as a Cicerone.
Yeah.
On the beer side of things.
The beer side.
Beer side, yep.
But I remember I came to you and I said, hey, Steve, I really like coffee. And this was before the craze, so I want this time stamped. I don't get prideful of ideas, but this one, like before the nitro craze took off, like
yeah,
I said, hey, Steve, is there any way that you could make this coffee like a Guinness, like how it pours out and it's foamy? And you're like, yeah, Ryan, that'd be easy. We'll just nitro infuse it.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Then a week later, you show up at the office with a kegerator, cold brew that you had to let steep for how long? Was it 48 hours?
No, I just did 24 hours.
24
hours steep. But yeah, it wasn't terribly difficult to make. The biggest, I would say, engineering hang up was the pour.
The pour of it, right?
The pour, yeah.
So
but we did it.
You wheel it in. I'm like, what is this? And you bring in specifically 8 ounces at a time of glasses, right? The sifter glasses.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't see the writing on the wall for that at the time. We can come back to that. But the sifter glasses you brought in only held 8 ounces for a reason, because this cold brew was strong, bold. And I'll tell you what, to this day, still the best nitro I've ever had.
Okay.
It was so good. Not to like just take over, but like you have to understand, it was so good that we drank it that day all day until 5 or 5:30. Myself and James.
Yeah.
Right? Mr. Allen.
Yep.
And we drank it all day. It was so smooth. We kept refilling it all day. And I swear, we come in the next day and I couldn't sleep. Like I was up all night.
Yeah.
Up all night. I couldn't sleep. It was a very productive day and evening.
Got a lot done, right?
Got a lot done.
Tons
And
done.
I walk in and I'm dragging.
Yeah.
And still awake. Like I'm tired, but my eyes are still like wide, all the nitro. And James, same thing.
Yeah.
He's like, we look at each other like, and I look at him, I was like, hey, did you sleep at all last night? And he's like, no, did you? I was like, no. It's like, I'm kind of tired. And he looks at me, he goes, well, I guess we have more nitro.
Yeah, we got more coffee. Yeah, let's just drink some more of that. That's a great idea.
We had to taper back that week.
Yeah.
But man, the stuff you made was just killer nitro.
Well, I'm glad you liked it. I mean, it was tasty. I mean, I enjoyed it, but yeah, it was a fun experiment too.
Yeah.
It would have been great to scale as well, I think, but just timing wise, it didn't really.
We looked into that.
Yeah.
Like we looked into delivery trucks, nitro.
Exactly.
Kegs, and now there's companies that are doing it.
Yes.
Right? Like at scale.
They do.
But at the time, there was nothing like it. It was exciting. No. And then as we ran the business model, like, unless you're like running a full-time coffee house or multiple coffee houses, like doing 5 gallons
at
to
a
an
time.
You know.
And in a couple offices, it's like, well, yeah, you can make a little bit, but is it really worth it? I don't know.
Yeah,
So,
but it just wasn't the same. But at the time, you were in the bar world too, right? You had just started your bar, so it was fresh on your mind. All the different taps going on. What?
Yeah. The bar was in the crazy phase. I mean, it was always kind of a crazy phase, but yeah, we were in the operations phase, should I say? So yeah.
Walk us through that time in the bar, because I knew you before you started it. You were trying to get zoning done in certain cities and whatnot, and then not only did you open the bar, but you like hand welded everything in that bar, like built it. Yeah. Like you literally start to finish.
Yes, things escalated quickly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So walk me through that.
Oh gosh. So as you know, I started off trying to open a brewery, right? So I'm trying to get the brewery open. I'm looking at places. I finally find was trying for downtown Glendale, as you know, working hard at that. Didn't really have much success finding a property that fit in Glendale. So I expanded my search, and actually John was the one that John Crow said, hey, you know, maybe just try somewhere else. Yeah. Okay, sure. So I found a place in downtown Phoenix to lease for the brewery space. Well, the guy I ended up leasing from was this guy who was opening this bar. And he basically approached me and said, hey, you have some skills, you have this, you have that. Do you want to kind of sideline that brewery project and help me build this bar? Which he had already kind of gotten through permitting, but it was this ragged old office building that was being converted from an office to a bar. Mm-hmm. And so on the surface, everything looked great. And it was like, okay, well, this guy has all these commercial properties that he owns. He has another successful business. I didn't know him outside of leasing from him. Mm-hmm. But on the surface, everything looked to be, you know, pretty sewn up, looked good.
Have you had a partner, not to interrupt, but have you had a partner before in business or knew what that was like?
No, this was my very first business partnership. And I had heard probably all the same stories everybody else has heard about how business partnerships generally go, which is not good.
I mean, they're so close. I mean, you know, my partner, John, right? Yeah. Rodica, like you have to be in sync all the time. Yeah. And thankfully we are, of course, but well, they're probably watching. So I have to say that. I'm just
they're
kidding.
Probably listening too, I would imagine.
It's their building.
Right.
No, but I mean, I asked that question because a partnership on the surface to people that aren't in business, it seems like a natural next step, but like there's so much that goes into it from a depth, and like you guys are doing life together every day. Right. It's not just like business. We can check out and go home.
No.
So anyway, so it was your first one, huh?
Yeah, first one. And not only that, but I think just in the context of owning your own business in general, I think most people think that you're going to have the control to be able to just, oh, it's my business, I can go home. But the reality of it is, as you well know, it never turns off. You're never clocked out. You're never able to just separate work from life because it's your business. Yeah. So there's
Was this your first endeavor as well as an entrepreneur?
It wasn't necessarily my first endeavor because I had all my, my brewery stuff going on. And, I was doing like custom beer for weddings and parties leading up to that. Right. So that was kind of the ramp up to that. Yeah. So it wasn't my first endeavor, but just to lay things out. So the reason that I chose to partner in the bar was that Dawn, my wife, she was pregnant at the time and we were going to have our first child. And so it was either, okay, what are you going to do? Are you going to Iron Man this business by yourself that you've in an industry you've never been in, or can you partner with this guy who has probably some more financial backing and maybe some more security? So, and with that kind of laid out in front of me, I was like, it might be a better chance to just partner with him initially, build this bar out, have a good, stable, steady income, and then go back to opening my brewery after, because the baby would be born by then, and then we'd have an income stream, and it was just a little bit more comfortable from that standpoint. Yeah. So we brokered this business relationship for me to basically sideline my brewery, start building this bar with him. It was more his vision, I guess, and I was more of a means to build it out. And I did have plenty of input, but it went south pretty much immediately, I would say. Yeah. Like
after month one immediately, or
I would say like after week one, like not even month one, like there were signs so fast. And I can remember calling my lawyer and being like, we need to plan an exit strategy here. We need to figure this out. And that was like within the first month. Yeah. So it was never like a good feeling. It was always bad.
Was it ever to a point where you're like, that MMA experience I had earlier in my life is coming, or was it all, I'm just kidding.
No, I was just like,
we'll get to those stories later.
I was just like deathly afraid of protecting my investment, because the money that I had allotted for the brewery, I basically injected into this. Yeah. So I still had everything on the line, essentially. I just had a partner who was more or less unreliable along for the ride with me. Wow. So yeah. But so I don't know how far you want to go into the process, but
lay it on me.
I'll lay it on you. Okay. So we get in there, and a lot of it was me working with the city, trying to get permits pulled, and just start to finish build from a shell of an office into a bar. and realized very quickly that not only did my business partner not have the development experience that he claimed to have, he didn't have trade experience, he didn't have good trades locked in. The architect that he had hired to do it didn't know the code well enough for like a really great design. So we ended up going through basically a complete redesign with the city, which was not fun.
Yeah.
It never is. Permitting is never fun.
Well, especially in this space, because then it's not just that, it's because you had an on-prem license too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you had to go through all that next. Like, it's never ending in this industry.
Yeah. So, and we had a Series 6 license, full bar, no food. But
not an off-prem, right? You couldn't sell bottles or anything. It was just
not at that time, because that was
okay.
pre-COVID. So pre-COVID, they didn't really do the to-go cocktails yet. So we started building the thing out, and very soon his financial backing that he said he had kind of evaporated. The money wasn't there. The trades that we had kind of disappeared. And so it turned out into like me and one or two other guys just building this entire commercial bar out by ourselves.
Yeah.
And so I did whatever I needed to do. I did electrical, I did finished carpentry, I did, fabrication, welding, whatever was needed to get it done, because I needed to protect my investment. And I basically just worked with the inspectors. And if I didn't know something, I was just honest with them when they came out, and they're like, "Hey, did you know this?" No, I don't. I don't know. This is not what I do normally. I'm just trying to get it done.
Yeah.
And they were luckily very, very understanding and very, as long as I was forthcoming with them and not trying to like lie about anything or try and slide something under the rug, they were very cool and just said, "Hey man, like do this, do this, do this." And I'd say, "No problem. I'll get it done." And, so we went along like that, got it done. At some point my business partner had a mental breakdown in the middle of the construction and actually slit his wrists and ended up in like some sort of like psych eval ward of the hospital for some time.
What year was this? Was it like 17, 18 time frame?
17, I believe. Yeah. 2017. So then we just kind of like fumbled through this construction phase and kind of got towards the end. And, my first son was born in 2018. And
now you're on 4.
Yeah. No, 3.
3.
Yeah.
Right, 3.
Nah, 4 would be crazy.
I think I'm just forecasting for you at this point.
Don't do that. If my wife watches this, I'm going to kill you. No. So basically we got through it, we got it open. And then once we got it open, it was running. The whole idea in the beginning was, okay, we get this thing up and running. Mm-hmm. We hire the right people. They run the thing. We kind of step back, just collect a check, and you go back to building your brewery. Yeah. Okay, cool. But what I realized very quickly was he was never there to take a step back. He wanted full control. He wanted all these things, and it would have been fine, but he was drinking at the bar every night. He was sexually harassing our employees.
This like rabbit hole just keeps going.
It just goes and goes. Yeah. He actually got an extreme DUI leaving the bar, damaged some property, ran into something with his vehicle.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, it was just like one thing after another. And then finally I had like an ultimatum where I was just like, "Hey, you can't be here anymore. Yeah. Like I need to protect both of our investment. You're not good to be here.
Yeah.
I'll be here. I'll run it with my GM, Mike. And if you want to be involved, like buy me out."
Wow.
And so I ran it like that with Mike for quite some time, a little over a year, I think.
Yeah.
And then finally he came back to the table and was like, "Hey, I want to get back in." And I said, "Well, you know the deal. I'm not going to work with you. So you can buy me out." And so he bought me out, and luckily it wasn't.
Really?
Yeah. And so it wasn't.
Did you think that was going to, when you posed that, did you think like he had the capital and the want to like just buy it out like that?
Well, here's the funny thing was that when we first brokered our business agreement, I can say that the one thing that saved me in this is that our business agreement was brokered very well. The language was good. Yeah. And if anybody in the world is going to start a business or just have a business partnership, I would say the most important thing is that document that you draw up. Because if you don't have protections there, especially being a minority owner, if it's not written properly, you can very easily just be shoved around in that arrangement. And I had equal voting rights, even though I was minority owner. every decision we made was an and, not an or. So we both had to agree on it for it to happen. And the money spent outside of the original, I would say our original injection of capital into the business was structured as a loan to be repaid with interest. So that when I sold, I didn't get hit with capital gains on my initial investment. So I was able, when I got paid out, to subtract that amount that I was owed with interest from that capital gain amount that I got when I got bought out. So that was huge. And then additionally, the amount put in after the initial investment didn't dilute your interest. And that's where his thing was. So he was spending a ton of money on a lot of really expensive like finishes and fixtures. And I didn't understand, because he kept saying like, I'm short on cash, but he was just dumping money, like borrowing money just to spend it on stuff that didn't really make that big of a difference. And then when we got to the end, when he was like trying to, maneuver around, he was like, oh yeah, well, we got to revisit our percentages of ownership. And I said, well, what do you mean? And he goes, well, I've spent all this money. And I looked at him and I said, have you read our agreement? Like, the money that you spent after that initial capital injection doesn't dilute my interest. I still own the same amount that I did when we started. So he was really upset because he was intentionally trying to basically spin me out of my ownership because he didn't understand how the agreement was written, and it didn't work.
Well, that's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how that works out for you.
Yes. Yes. So there was a lot of shady stuff going on. But so then when it came back to the buyout time, I had an idea he was going to buy me out, but it was still a lot of posturing back and forth, trying to figure out on a amount and all these different metrics. But it happened to close, luckily for me, February of 2020, which was a month before the mandated shutdowns for COVID for bars, which nobody ever thought could ever happen. So, and I would love to say that it was like some, I don't know, Warren Buffett level of insight, but it was really just like stupid luck on my part for once in my life, where I was like, all right,
writings on the wall.
If you can't be good, be lucky. Like, just take the luck and be okay with it. So and
so you got out before COVID shut down, all that?
A month before COVID.
No way.
1 month.
Oh my gosh. I loved how like one of the best responses to the COVID trends though is in the restaurant world that I saw at the time was like one of my favorite local places, Carumba's.
Yeah.
Like as soon as it happened and they had to like shut down and all that, like a few months later, they're popping up with to-go margaritas.
Yeah, to-go margaritas.
and they're like in these bottles, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's genius.
Yeah,
like I don't know how they did it, but that was just an incredible response as a business to COVID, where they're like, okay, we can't sell any alcohol anymore. Yeah. We'll just bottle it up. You can take it home.
Yeah, take it to go. And anybody who didn't do that, I think missed the mark a little bit, because it was a pivot, but it's like, well, what do you do? Like, it was. Yeah.
I think they were one of the first adopters, which is why it caught my attention. Or maybe I just caught onto it late, but no, I just thought it was crazy. Like,
no, it's a great way of doing it.
It was
like,
awesome.
If you have to pivot and do something different, like, I don't know how you could. Thinking about it now and looking back, the whole thing was insane.
Yeah, and so like the business partnership process, nuts. But walk me through when you're in the business. Like, there's got to have been a situation as you're starting this bar up, or maybe halfway through. I mean, you probably went through some crazy situations that you may or may not have foreseen of employees or customers. What's like some of the dingers that just sit in the back of your head? Like, I can't believe I had a business and I ran that.
Yeah.
This happened.
Well, I would say, like, for the bar business specifically, something that I think most people don't realize is that Arizona has some of the most aggressive dram shop laws in the country.
Dram shop.
So dram shop laws are, okay, if I come to your bar and you serve me, let's say, 2 beers in 2 hours, and then I leave and I go to the bar next door and I get 8 shots in 10 minutes, and I'm well past my limit to get in my car and drive home. But I get in my car, I drive down the road, I wreck it, somebody dies. Now, your bar is part of that same lawsuit, even though
because it's in the same night.
It's in the same night. You visited that this guy visited your bar and the bar next door. So what these lawyers will do is they will sue you and the bar next door for the max on whatever your umbrella policy is. They'll find out what that is, whether it's $1 million, $2 million. They just go for the max.
Oh my gosh.
And then they wait to settle out of court. And so the reason that insurance for bars, liquor liability insurance is so high is because of that. Because everybody kind of has a part in the suit. So even if you have cameras, if you have good receipts, if you have you have ID checkers at the door, all of those things in place, your insurance is still sky high. And insurance in the liquor industry is basically audited annually. So like if you're going to open your bar, you say, okay, Ryan's Bar. They're going to say, Ryan, how much do you think you're going to sell? Like what's a dollar figure for your first year sales? And you're like, I don't know, like 600,000.
Yeah.
So
gross,
your premium,
right?
yeah,
Like
your premium is based on that number that you give them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe at the end of the year, Ryan's Bar did great and you cleared $1 million. Well,
they'll
audit
just
you.
assume Ryan's Bar
is going to do great.
I mean,
yeah,
I like that assumption.
Yeah. So you clear that $1 million and
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, celebration. Well, for a celebration, they audit you and then they charge you the difference in what your premium was from that 600 to that $1 million every year.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's not like you pay it monthly. It's odd installments too, like 5 payments through the year. Like it's just weird. Like it mathematically, it doesn't make sense. But so it ends up being a lot. So like for a bar where you're going to do like $1 million a year, like you're going to pay $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year in insurance between general liability, liquor liability, all this stuff. And you can get discounts if you pay it.
That's on top of the license you already paid for,
That's
right?
on top of the license.
Don't the licenses cost? Like, what are they at now? They're 6 figures. I just can't remember.
So a Series 6, which is a full bar, no food, you can get them in the lottery through the Arizona Liquor Board.
But the lottery is just like, hey, you have a chance to buy one. It's not.
Well, you have a chance to buy one from the liquor board instead of a broker.
Okay.
The broker licenses are way more than the price that you would get it in the lottery. So like, every year, DLLC will release like, okay, this is fair market value for this license, fair market value for this license.
Okay.
And the licenses aren't new. Those licenses have been issued to many bars over the years and then kind of like recycled and re-put back in rotation. And there's money to be made buying and selling them. So lots of bars do it.
That's why they do brokers.
Yeah, that's why they do it.
Interesting.
So it's a whole racket in itself where like, you can't sell a license you got in the lottery until you've hung it somewhere. So like a lot of people will buy a license, hang it, and then they'll like try and do like a swap where they'll get another license and then like hang that license and then sell the one that they had. So it's a whole thing in itself.
Wow.
The liquor licenses, and there's lawyers that's all they do is like broker the sales of liquor licenses in the state of Arizona. That's all they do. So
So anyway, back to the bar though. I got to hear a crazy bar story because
a crazy bar story.
Like you had to have gone through.
Oh God.
Stuff.
Yeah. We had lots of crazy bar stories. So New Year's is like a great time for patrons, but for anybody who works in the industry, it is like the Twilight Zone. It is like the worst of people come out. I don't know what it is, but like New Year's just brings like this like side of people out that is just on another level. Like people are doing stuff that they're doing one time a year, maybe one time in their life, it's all happening right in front of you. And it's terrible. So we had several like just like people who were on, I don't know, hallucinogenics, or it wasn't like they were just drinking. Like they were psychotic, you know?
Gosh.
And we had one guy that walked in, and an older guy that was on drugs that walked in a hospital gown and with the bracelet still on his arm. Like it wasn't like he put it on as a costume.
Is it a nearby hospital?
Well, there's not like a real close hospital nearby in downtown Phoenix, you know?
It wasn't Halloween.
No, it wasn't Halloween. And has the hospital gown on, but the back is open and he's nude underneath. Like, oh yeah, he's got it hanging out, man. And he just waltzes up in there and starts talking to people.
Just like everything's normal?
Like nonchalant. Yeah, like we're talking right now. Like, hey, how's it going? And actually fairly articulate too, which was probably the biggest surprise. Is like you see somebody like that, you don't think you're going to be talking to like Geoffrey Chaucer or something like that. And the guy was like a pretty articulate guy, and I was like, huh. Like, didn't see it, but of course I had to like.
Did he saddle up at the bar?
No, he didn't even get a drink. Like I intercepted and got him to leave, but and he was cordial. Didn't
fight it.
Didn't fight it. Like he was like, okay, yeah.
But you never thought like, okay, man in a hospital gown, flapping in the breeze, I have to intervene.
Yeah.
Like when you open up the bar, that was never a scenario.
No, that was not a scenario. No. And like I had a bartender that had a tendency to like drink on the job, which of course that happens.
Yeah.
But then one day he was like, I guess either selling or giving shots of his vape pen to customers. And I was like, no, dude, like you cannot do that. And I ended up having to let him go. My business partner, his friend or his partner, somebody ended up hooking up with somebody and took him back in a private room and then left the person there passed out in this private room at the bar and instructed our bartenders to, quote, wake them up when we close.
What?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
It doesn't take a lot for me to go speechless.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there were quite a bit of things that happened, and just like, you know, I would say it was a weekly occurrence of like people, you know, doing cocaine in the bathroom and stuff like that, which is just kind of like, well, it's not a family establishment, so it didn't like. I expected that kind of stuff to happen, which I don't know if that's good or bad, but like I don't even rate that high on the list.
Yeah,
you know, like
through the ringer if that wasn't like up there.
No, I was like, oh, it's just some cocaine. Get out of here. You know, like, but yeah, that bar's down the street. That's not here. We don't do that here. But
oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it
wow.
Yeah, so I mean things like that, just once you're down there long enough, you just kind of get like thick skin and things just don't bug you, you know, like we had we had a pretty huge, just massive melting pot of people down there of all ages. So you never really knew what to expect.
What were the crossroads again?
2nd Street in Garfield.
Okay.
So we're 1 block south of Roosevelt on 2nd Street. So we were, at the time, it was Cobra Arcade was south of us. Film Bar was south of us.
Yes, that is a melting pot of just everybody.
Absolutely. And Lucky's Indoor Outdoor is now next door, which is a popular spot down there now. But yeah, so and it's still there. I mean, the bar's still there. You can still everything looks relatively.
I was walking past it when you had told me you had done all the metal work and whatnot.
Yeah.
And this was years. I mean, decade ago. I don't know.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Long time ago.
Yeah.
I was walking past it. And I admired your handiwork. I was like, oh my gosh, he wasn't kidding. Like I thought I built the bar. No, like the entire metal work on the outside, the inside, the welding.
Yeah,
like,
the gates, the walls,
you just took
even
all
the
that
bathroom
over.
stalls. Like the bathroom stalls, the partitions, I built all of those.
So like, I'm going to start a bar, and then I'm also going to do all the architectural work and the construction work. And I mean, soup to nuts. So then when you exited, was it relief? Like, what did that feel like?
It was relief. Like I never really wanted to exit because I really did enjoy my staff. I had really great relationships with my staff. I had the bar business itself I enjoyed.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the majority of the interactions that I had. And it was just the business partnership was really the only bad part of it, I would say. Like I would totally get back into the bar industry again.
Yeah. Well, you've always been about people and relationships. Like you always enjoy serving, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I dug it. And like when I was there as the owner, I would never like walk around in a suit and like tell people like, yeah, you know, I'm the owner of this place. Like what I would do is I would put on a shirt like everybody else, like all my bar backs, and I would bar back. Like I would clear glassware, and everybody just thought I was like a bar back, like a guy that worked there. And my theory on that was like, you're going to get a more honest opinion from your guests if they think you're just a lowly employee than if you walk in and say, you know, I'm the owner, you know. And not only that, but your staff, I feel like, is always going to have more respect if you are like just, you know, taking grenades in the trenches with them and you're there elbow to elbow working as hard as they are for a common goal.
Yeah,
you know, like
absolutely.
That's just always kind of been my theory on that. Cause you know, when I had bosses, I always appreciated the bosses that not only had done my job, but were proficient at it. So I don't know, that part of it it meant a lot to me. So, but yeah, the bar was great. It was hard to let go because I put so much into it, you know, like, but going back, my business partner brokered the agreement. So we didn't own the building anyway. So everything that was bolted down was owned by somebody else. All that work that I did from the get-go
was never
belonged
like an
to me.
asset that you invested into.
No, it wasn't. So I was happy with the contribution that I made, and I didn't put any more in after that.
Yeah.
And that's why I kept going back to my business partner, because looking at things just from like a common sense standpoint, if you looked at the places that were around us at the time, like Cobra Arcade, the interior of that place doesn't have any extravagant finishes. It doesn't have anything that's like insane. Yeah, sure, they have video games and some cool lighting, but I mean, it's not like finished carpentry level precision, so it was way over the top what he was trying to achieve.
Yeah.
And I kept coming back to it and saying, like, we don't own this building.
Yeah. And why are we going to invest in something that we don't actually own? It's not like it's not like you're helping the asset value appreciate so that as you sell it, like,
no,
it's still leased.
And it's one thing if like what you're doing is going to drive business in some way, shape, or form, but the aesthetic, especially in that neighborhood, didn't necessarily drive business.
They're more concerned about what? The drinks you had, the camaraderie, the community.
Yeah. And so like for me, I was just trying to like take an average of the places around us. So like going into all the places that were there and being like, well, what are we trying to be? Like, who are we trying to be? Because when you enter a market, the market is already established.
Yeah.
You don't get to just come in and say, oh, well, I'm going to do this and I'm going to charge twice as much, because guess what?
Yeah.
The bar's already been set. People are conditioned already for a certain price point, a certain feel, so you can maybe move the needle a little this way, a little that way, but you got to still kind of stay in your lane in a lot of ways. And so for me, spending a bunch on extravagant finishes just didn't make financial sense. And it wasn't my money, so I didn't really care. It's like, okay, dude, like if you want to spend more, go ahead, like spend your money.
It's not going to move the needle revenue wise. I think that's often too, especially in ownership and business ownership.
Yeah.
We lose sight of, like, we get caught up in these like shiny object syndromes, or like, is this actually going to move the revenue needle? Because most of the time what moves the revenue needle isn't the sexiest.
Right.
Most of the time what moves the revenue needle is, what is your brand promising consistently all the time? Is that value, what they're looking for? It's not, is it better than the competition, but it's also like, what is that value that the customer is looking for? And are you meeting or exceeding that value that they want based on those expectations? And like, that's what really moves the revenue needle. But so often it's like all these shiny objects, they distract, and then time is money. Now you're out 8 months and now you've spent this much and you've never once moved the revenue needle.
Nope.
Like, oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
So
and
that's good that you're able to focus on that.
Yeah. And for me, it was always easy, but when you're in a business partnership, obviously it's tough. It's tough because it's not just you making the decisions. So you kind of have to, be a little diplomatic about things. And, for me, I can't even count the amount of times it said like, oh my gosh, like this is so unnecessary what we're doing. Like we're wasting time for things that nobody is going to care about.
Yeah.
Like they just want to come in here and have drinks. And I don't know that it's necessarily the same now as it was then, but I think it is. But for the craft cocktail focus, people cared more about the quality of what they were getting as far as the cocktail than like the atmosphere. Now there are some places where atmosphere matters. Like if you go to Century Grand or somewhere like that, where, okay, yes, if you're going to do it on that level, I completely understand, but this wasn't that.
Yeah.
So
the quality. Yeah. That makes sense.
So taking more, I would say putting more into the quality of your program and consistency. That's kind of where I was at. I was like, okay, we need to compete on the quality. We need to have a quality cocktail. Let's break down all these other places, what they're doing, what spirits are they using, how are they juicing, what are they doing to create a quality cocktail, and what's their price point in getting there. So that was a more nuts and bolts approach,
Yeah, but did you ever think, you were born and raised here, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What high school did you go to again?
Washington.
In Glendale.
It's in Phoenix, so 23rd Avenue in Glendale. It's Glendale Union High School, though. That's district.
That always fascinated me, where you have like cities. The same thing happens with Peoria.
Yeah.
Right? Like I lived in Glendale, but I was in Peoria Unified. Right. So same thing. But like, as you're growing up and as you're ingrained in the culture here, like did you ever think that you were going to be an entrepreneur or an owner? Like as you were growing up, as you're going through it, at one point you're doing MMA.
Yeah.
Did you,
yeah.
Did you know... Like, did you ever think, hey, I'm going to be an MMA fighter for like real?
Yeah.
For good, professional?
Yeah. Yeah.
You did?
For sure, yeah.
So before you were a bar owner, let's back this up a little bit, because now I got to know about your MMA fight career.
Yeah, right.
What happened there? I got to know the story behind that.
Well, I mean, I was a troubled high school kid. Like I got in non-sanctioned fights quite a bit.
Non-sanctioned, just meaning at high school?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I'm tracking the
terminology.
terminology.
Yes. Non-sanctioned bouts. So got in a lot of fights, had a kind of a rowdier group of friends.
Yeah.
And when I got out of high school, I wanted to get into something else. At the time, MMA was just kind of getting started.
Mm-hmm.
UFC was still relatively a new thing. So I got into MMA, and the school that I found, they had just built a location off of 101 and Olive at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But their original location was at the SRC at ASU main campus. It's called American Pancration. And
there's some big fighters that came out of there.
Yes. So
you were rolling with some heavies.
Yeah, I was. Yes. I was the worst guy in the room for a while, but
really,
people don't understand that, like, in that circle, in that type of sport, it's great to be the worst guy in the room.
Yeah.
Because you're going to learn something.
Yeah.
And
I just heard a quote about that from NBA draft is coming up.
Yeah.
And one of the players, Cooper Flag, I think his name is. I saw a quote where he was telling him, like, my mom always told me that if I was the best guy in the gym, I better find a new gym.
Exactly.
It's like, that's fascinating. So
that's
what you were at.
That's exactly. I'm on the same page.
What were some of the names that came out of there, though? Because there were some big names. I remember hearing about that.
Yeah. So I was kind of the same class as like Ryan Bader, CB Dalloway, Cain Velasquez. All those guys were there at Pancration at ASU all around the same time. This is before Bader split off and created Power MMA, and you know, so but I mean, there were gold medalists there, Olympic gold medalist wrestlers there, you know.
Wow.
Aaron Simpson, Heath Sims, just powerhouse guys and guys that came from big wrestling programs. So like I spent a lot of time just getting chucked around like a rag doll.
Yeah.
Which was great because I got better really fast and I picked it up fast. And so I started doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and grappling tournaments, no-gi grappling tournaments. Back then, the only two big ones were, this was like before a lot of guys knew about ADCC and, you know, like no-gi worlds and pans and all that. So like for no-gi was like the redheaded stepchild of jiu-jitsu. So like now no-gi's kind of like this sport jiu-jitsu big thing. You got the Rotolos, you've got guys like Gordon Ryan.
You're saying no-gi as in like the actual gi?
Yeah, like the outfit that you wear. So like the gi's like the karate
nowadays,
uniform.
Yeah, you're right. Like everything we see nowadays, everybody's like in
shorts.
Like shorts and heat gear, like, you know, tight
a rash guard.
Stuff,
a rash guard. Yeah. So, but back then you couldn't make any money doing no-gi. Like
why was there such a discrepancy? Because I feel like nowadays, I mean, that's pretty exciting to watch.
Yeah, and it is. I mean, especially like if you've seen like the Craig Jones Invitational. God, it was in its first year last year, coming back again soon, but fantastic.
I think UFC just debuted. They're debuting their first BJJ fight too, right?
Yes. Yeah. So
I don't think the power slapping went off as much as they thought it would.
Thank God.
Like let's shift to BJJ.
Yes.
But power slapping for a year was like
everybody was on board with that except for me.
These faces. Have you seen some of the guys like their whole face is swollen? You feel terrible for them. Even the winners.
You feel terrible for them?
I mean,
I don't feel bad for him at all.
I know it's what they signed up to do, but like when the winner, you can't make out his face and he's like pumped. I'm like, that's a different level of a dude. Like,
I don't know. I just can't imagine slapping somebody. Like, it's just ridiculous. But anyway, no gi back then. And I think the main reason was that jiu-jitsu in general was more of like a traditional martial art.
Yeah.
Where they belted people out, you know, it was very regimented. And no-gi kind of split off from kind of jiu-jitsu, but like kind of like catch wrestling and wrestling. So it was kind of like this different thing that was all just kind of, it didn't follow the traditional progression of jiu-jitsu. So like most of the black belts back then who were belting guys out are like, no, this is like an abomination. We're not going to co-sign on this.
Yeah.
And so no-gi existed, but it just was kind of like this thing that was just like, okay, yeah, go over in that room and you guys do that. We'll stay over here and, you know, do it the right way. And now it's not that way. But so I started doing no-gi jiu-jitsu, and the only two major tournaments around the West Coast were Grappler's Quest, which was later bought by UFC, and then Naga. And so they would have usually once or twice a year a tournament in Vegas.
Yeah.
And it was like the West Coast Championships where you'd go. And so I started off doing those tournaments before I started fighting. And then I went straight from basically no-gi tournaments straight to professional MMA. I didn't fight amateur at all, which I should have, but I didn't. I just went straight into professional fighting. And the only difference for anybody who doesn't know is that amateurs and pros, the only difference is you get paid. Like, that's it. It's whether you get paid. If you get paid $200, you're a pro.
Really?
You're a pro. Yeah.
That's the entry level for that?
No, I'm not. I'm just making an example, but it is really low. It is really low.
I mean,
like some guys are making like
every sport is like that,
$800,
right?
$1,000, you know, like
Per
it's
fight.
not a lot in
and
the
that's
beginning.
only if you're winning, or is there consolation?
Sometimes there's guarantees. Sometimes there's a win bonus. But I mean, even in the feeder promotions, even like the entry level guys coming into like a UFC card that just got signed, those guys are not making a lot of money.
Oh my gosh.
They're making like maybe $4 or $5 grand their first fight or something like that. It's not a lot.
When you say entry level too, I mean, obviously you fought, right?
Yeah.
But when you say entry level, I think of like under the hotel room, there's like this mat, you know,
oh no,
in the dark basement, barbed wires everywhere. Well, is that way off on entry?
I don't think it's that far off. No. I mean, maybe when I was doing it, no, that's not that far off. I could tell you a story about that if you want.
Yeah. Okay. That's why we're here.
So
no barbed wire though, right?
No, there wasn't barbed wire. I don't think so.
Okay.
No barbed wire. No. So Gladiator Challenge and King of the Cage, I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but they were back then like a big feeder promotion for UFC, mainly out of Northern California, Sacramento area, but kind of all over the place in California.
Yeah.
And so I was fighting at 170, 155 at the time. And I got a call from the promoter, Ted Williams, who did both promotions. It's kind of sister promotions.
Unrelated to, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, not that Ted Williams. It's different Ted Williams. Everybody always says that though. So he was the promoter for Gladiator Challenge and King of the Cage. And he called, I think, one of the other guys at the gym. And then he asked me, and I was like, yeah, you know, what's the deal? And he's like, well, we have this middleweight title fight. Yeah. And somebody got hurt, and it was like a 10-day notice. And he's like, I'm like, all right, well, what's the guy's name? Let me see if I can find some tape on him. And so I looked the guy up, and his name was Robert Sarkozy. And he was this Hungarian guy he'd had hundreds of kickboxing fights. Like he was a kickboxer mainly.
Oh, geez.
And so he'd had a bunch of fights. And this was like my third or fourth fight.
No.
Like it wasn't deep into the career. But I watched some tape on him, and Ryan Bader had fought him like a few months earlier and like went to decision, but it didn't look like he was like actually trying to like beat him. It looked like he was just like, he wasn't taking him down. He was just standing up with him, and like, it looked like it was just like, he was trying to get reps in type thing.
Who, Bader was?
Bader was,
oh,
yeah. Okay. I would say, but maybe not. I don't know. He could have not been on his best day or something, but I watched the tapes. I watched a lot of tape.
Did you talk to, because you trained with Bader, so did you like pick his brain on it?
Oh,
or was it
I never like knew Bader personally.
Oh, okay.
Like we just trained with the same people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And so, but I watched the tape, and he trained with a lot of the same guys I trained with. So we kind of bounced things off the same people.
Yeah.
So I had an idea of like where he was at. And, so then I ended up saying, yeah, I'll take the fight. And so 10 days till this fight. And I'm walking around
with
at like
10-year vet.
Yeah. And I'm walking around at like 190 pounds for a 185 pound fight.
Okay.
Most guys that are fighting at middleweight, 185, are walking around 215, 220.
And they just cut before.
And they cut to 85, you know. So, and this guy was a big middleweight. Like he was jacked. And so the interesting part about California is California, and it could be this way, it might not, but at the time, to get your boxing license in California, it was $1,000 a year. And they put you on an EKG and all this stuff. And like, it's pretty involved. It's safer for the fighters. But if you're only going to make like maybe $1,000, $2,000 for a fight, you can't really afford to spend half of it on a license, especially when you're coming from out of state. You might not have 2 or 3 fights there in a year.
Wow.
So what all these promotions do, instead of having sanctioned bouts through the California State Athletic Commission,
again, the word sanction is popping up.
Sanction, yes. You're going to hear that. They do fights on reservations all over California. And these bouts nobody is blood tested for anything.
Oh,
and I'm not talking just steroids. I'm talking like bloodborne pathogens, HIV, hepatitis, nothing.
And so you thought, I'm not going to do this, or
no,
or you thought,
no,
hey, game
like,
on.
No, like I was going to do it no matter what. Because I'm like, if I can win a title in a feeder promotion for UFC,
that'll help, yeah.
I can get a leg up. I can come in. I can get on the Ultimate Fighter. I can do whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So it was a stepping stone for me, and it was a pretty legit promotion. But
Yeah.
everything was kind of seedy at that time, so
Yeah.
I was kind of used to a little bit of, whatever. And so it's kind of like the cocaine thing, like
Yeah.
you know, you just whatever. So I take the fight, and I go out there. And it's at this hotel. I think it was either Canocti or Calusa Vista Casino. I can't remember. But the cage is set up in the parking lot of this casino. And the hotel rooms are
outside in the
outside in the parking lot. Yeah.
At
Outside.
night, there was lights at least, or was it during the day?
Well, it started at like, I think it was like 4 p.m.
Yeah.
And then went till like 7. It was in the summer too. So,
oh my gosh.
And so it was a little warmer, but it wasn't like here, you know. But nowhere to warm up, nowhere to do anything. So I'm like in my hotel room, like hitting mitts and like getting my hands taped and ready to go.
Yeah.
And there is a mass of people that are like just drinking, throwing bottles, all kinds of stuff. I go down to the pre-fight meeting, and the whole pre-fight meeting is less about like what I can and can't do in the fight. It's more about how to not engage with the crowd. Like if somebody spits on you, do not engage. Let security handle it. If somebody throws a bottle at you, do not engage. You will be disqualified. I'm like, oh God, like this, there's more chances of fighting outside the cage than inside. Wow. And so anyway.
And still you're like, I'm going to do the fight.
And I'm still doing it. Yeah, I'm still totally in for this. And so there's people, you know, smoking pot, drinking, all kinds. It smells like a Bob Marley concert.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I'm like, you know, whatever. And we're the main event. It's a title fight.
Mm-hmm.
And so I go out first round, and I did exactly what I wanted to do because this guy was not a good wrestler, and I knew that. So I go out, put him up against the cage, take him down. He tries to like throw a cheesy leg triangle. I pass his guard, mount him, and I'm throwing punches, and he's kind of blocking. I'm getting a few through as I'm mounted. And in the fight that I had done before, elbows weren't allowed. So some promotions based on, they don't want the liability because they don't want.
What type of elbows?
Like just any elbows.
Any
So
elbows.
like some promotions
okay.
like will say, okay, well, it's a pro fight, but no elbows and no knees because they don't want to pay the bill at the hospital for you when you get your head cracked open.
Yeah. I thought it was just the 12-6.
Oh, well, that's still illegal.
Is that
okay? That's illegal. But no, like some have no elbows. So anyway, elbows were allowed in this fight.
Oh gosh.
But I'm punching this guy, and I'm still like in the mentality of like, oh, the rule set from my last fight, I can't throw an elbow. And then my corner man, Kieran, he's like, elbow, elbow, elbow. And then light bulb goes off, and I'm like, yeah.
The fact that you can hear while you're doing that and focus back and forth, like there's a different level of man right there.
Yeah.
It's like,
and I'm like, elbows, yes. And so the guy's like, you know, he's covering like this.
Yeah.
And I take my left hand and I push both his hands to the mat and then just bring like the biggest elbow from like as high as I can go just down on his face. And it breaks his nose and like his orbital cracked. And there's just blood, like his nose like exploded. There was blood everywhere instantly. And so then I keep hitting him after that, and he very quickly turned over and gave me his back. So I lock in a rear naked choke, but I'm on top of him now with the rear naked in. And so what does he do? He goes to his back, so I'm underneath him now. Well, now the blood is cascading down his face, all into my eyes, my ears, my mouth, my nose. And and I'm like, oh my God. And so he taps, but I get up and I'm covered in blood. And the first thing that comes to my mind is like, there's no blood testing. This guy could have AIDS. He could have hepatitis. He could have whatever combination of bloodborne pathogens. And it's in my mouth.
Oh gosh.
Like in my eyes. Like I can't undo this. I can't like go brush my teeth and like brush the AIDS away. Like it's not going to work. And
just that phrase.
Yeah. Like,
didn't think I'd ever hear that on this.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, there's not fixing this now. Like this is not going to happen. And so then, I try and talk to the guy. Well, the guy is Hungarian. He doesn't speak any English. Not a single one of his
doesn't
corner
have a translator or anybody?
No translate, no nothing. So like I'm trying to talk to him afterwards. I got nothing. Like I can't communicate with him. I don't know when the last time he was blood tested. I don't know any of it. So then I'm like, we get done with like all the photos and all the crap afterwards. And I'm like in the shower, like, you know, a sexual assault victim, like scrubbing all this dried blood off of myself.
Gosh.
And then, you know, you go back home and try to explain to your wife, well, you need to go get blood tested.
Yeah.
And she's like, so what happened? And I'm like, trying to explain.
Let's back up to my high school.
Yeah, this is what happened. Okay. So yeah.
I mean, she knew you took the fight and all that, right?
Yeah,
like,
she knew.
She knew.
And there were pictures of me covered in blood. So I mean, that kind of helped.
Gosh.
Kind of sell it, you know. So
everything was fine though, right?
Everything's fine. Yeah.
I didn't know if this
I'm
like
still
took a turn. No,
disease free, healthy guy. So worked out. But yeah, so there was just stuff like that happened. It was always interesting.
Wow.
But yeah, and lots of trips to Vegas, which were insane. But
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I just like how you just like cruise there, like, yeah, like lots of stuff like that happened. I'm like circling back on my life going like, oh my gosh, I've never had a Hungarian dude bleed all over me because I popped his nose off with my elbow.
Yeah.
Like that's a pretty specific scenario.
Yeah. It was a good time though, man. It was a fun time.
Yeah.
It was really a lot of fun. And my buddy Kieran, like if you could get him on this podcast,
yeah,
dude, this guy is like, so
was he always in your corner? Is that why?
Yeah. So he was kind of like the mentor for all these guys. And he is, I think he's the most interesting man in the world, like the real most interesting man in the world.
Really?
Yeah, seriously. You know, he's been a fighter. He had like he patented some process for like t-shirt printing and like sold it to, I don't know, like Nike or somebody early in life.
Wow.
Right out of college, went to ASU. He fought in Thailand, and now he's a stuntman in Hollywood. He did Leonardo DiCaprio's stunt work for The Revenant, the one he actually got like an Oscar for. So you look
this was your corner man?
Yeah, Kieran Gallagher. You look the guy up on IMDb, and he's still in Hollywood, you know, crazy dude. He's got like a sailboat. He's independently wealthy, but like doesn't spend money on anything. So like if you saw him walking down the street, you'd be like, hey dude, you want like the rest of my sandwich? No, he like is loaded. He's independently wealthy, and he's just like the most humble dude in the world.
So I'll just say, hey, Kieran, come on the show. I need more stories of Steve like this in the corner.
Kieran has so many stories about everybody, including himself. Like, and that's why my oldest son is named Kieran. So,
I was gonna say that. Yeah,
he's named after my buddy Kieran. So
wow.
Yeah, dude. So
that's the tale of Steven Eldridge.
That's one of the tales.
Bar owner, MMA fighter, extraordinaire.
Yeah.
Gosh, man.
So yeah, it all comes kind of full circle, you know?
Yeah.
It's weird. It's weird the way, you know, life throws curveballs at you. So
that's fun, man. Well, thanks for sharing. Thanks for coming on. And
absolutely.
Certainly didn't expect a few of those curveballs, but I was grateful to have them.
Yeah.
Jeez. And cheers to you.
Yeah. Cheers. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
man.